Hey, good evening, YouTube. Welcome to We Don't Miss episode 6. I apologize for the cinematography, the lighting, and the backdrop. I'm currently in a hotel room in Breckenridge, Colorado for opening ski week, and I've been having a blast out here at Peak 8 Resort, the Grand Lodge. A great facility, having an awesome time. Without further ado, today's topic is when is it enough? And when we talk about it, I'm talking about how many times a day do you look at other cars or look at houses online or imagine that perfect job or think about the big bank account that you're going to have one day. Those are the it's that I'm talking about. And I'm here to tell you and give you a little surprise that it is never enough. And while that might sound disconcerting, the reason I say that is because if you are a motivated individual who is always aspiring to reach the next level in your life, whether it's the next level in your faith, whether it's the next level in your job, whether it's the next level financially, you being a motivated individual means that the goalpost is always going to be moving. So once you achieve the job that you think is your dream job, there's going to be another promotion that you're gunning for. Once you buy the vehicle that you've always wanted, now that you have the promotion and now that you have more money, you're going to probably look at another vehicle 3 years or 5 years down the road. So it is never enough. And let me tell you why this is good and bad. The bad news is that we live in a culture with social media now where everybody is flaunting a lifestyle to get likes and get views, a lifestyle that we all want. And I've said on every single video, I am not impervious to the social media lure. When I see a Lamborghini, I'm like, dang, I wish I had one of those. When I see a sweet mansion, yeah, it would be really, really cool to live in one of those. But here's the issue: if you're always living in a state of discomfort because you don't have the things that you want, it can lead to a lot of negative impacts, specifically mental health. Now, I'm not going to beat you over the head with a mental health stick because you've probably already heard all the data and you're familiar with excessive social media use and wanting all these things. For some people, it's not a big deal. Like for me, I can watch social media and I can see people in private jets and people with $30,000 watches, and I'm just like, oh, that's really cool. And then I just go about my day. Some people, however, though, and you might be one of those people, actually start to develop negative self images and start to get down on yourself about not having these things. You wonder why, at your current stage of your life, you haven't achieved what these, which is seemingly younger and younger rich people, like in their 20s and 30s, why you might be in your late 30s or 40s or 50s and have not achieved these material things that these individuals have. And you start asking questions why. And the questions usually aren't positive, they aren't questions that lead you to work harder, seek the promotion, be self reflective. These are thoughts that go into your head of, if I would have done this in my past, maybe I would be here right now, present day, or my future would look better. If I hadn't made these mistakes, I would have all these things that these other people have. Well, let me tell you something that we all already know. A lot of this flaunting on social media, some of it is 100% fake. Some of these pictures that you see in people in fake jets, those jets are not flying in the air. They're sitting on the ramp somewhere, and they just knew somebody that had access to a private jet, and they hopped in for 30 seconds, took a couple pictures, and then got off. So that's one extreme end of the spectrum. And a middle ground of that spectrum is you don't know what people's financial situation is when they're flaunting all this stuff. So if you see somebody with an expensive car or an expensive house or an expensive lifestyle, how do you not know that that person is $50,000 in debt or more? How do you know that that person isn't a trust fund baby where all that money was given to them and they can buy things at will without putting in any work? There's tons of different scenarios, but I'm here to tell you that most of the individuals that live a normal life, like you and I, we are not afforded the trust fund bank accounts. We are not affiliated with a family member where we can just enter the company business. And I'm not hating on that. I'm just saying that the average person doesn't have access to that. So what do we have to do? We have to work for it. So let me tell you my story about, real quick, to summarize why I know I'm speaking from a been there, done that position. I grew up broke. I didn't grow up broke because my family was broke. My mom and dad were very successful, and when I lived under their roof, I was afforded all the opportunities and all the things that I needed to be successful. But when I decided to venture out on my own, I didn't have the financial support to do whatever I wanted. It was actually the opposite of that, and which I appreciate, is my parents, when I left home, they made sure that I had everything that I needed, but nothing that I wanted, because they wanted to build a strong work ethic in me. And so I did what everybody else did. I got a minimum wage job. I drove a not so nice car. I lived in a not so nice place. Well, fast forward 10 years later, I finally made some money, and I was single with no kids, and I bought everything that I wanted without going into debt, and I had everything my hearts could desire. I had a better car. I had several, not just one, but several motorcycles in my garage. I could go out to dinner wherever I wanted and never look at prices on the menu. And it was a good life. Now, I wasn't at five-star restaurants or Michelin restaurants, eating $500 meals. But the point being is that I went from one place to being actually satisfied, even though I didn't have money, to going to another place where I had money. And the old version of me would have looked at the new version of me and said, "You've made it." But this is the goalpost that I talk about. Once I got to that point, I was more driven and more motivated to reach my next personal goals, and then which would materialize into more materialistic things. I'm going to first say this. I like nice things. And I think that people that say, "Oh, you shouldn't have a Rolex," or "You shouldn't drive a six-figure car," or "You shouldn't have a mansion, that stuff's not going to bring you happiness," I think they're correct in the scope that, yes, those things won't bring you happiness. But my view of those things is that when you achieve those things, those are something that you can look at. It's a tangible asset, similar to a trophy, that you can say, "Yeah, I worked my butt off for this, and now I have it, and it feels really nice to have nice things." Now, continuing with my personal example, I currently live in a very nice house in a nice neighborhood. I got money in my bank account. My wife has a car. I have a car. I've got two motorcycles. We have additional cars because we're trying out the Turo thing. And we're never in financial distress. Now, personal happiness is not tied to those things because I still have my struggles with achievement and where I want to be versus where I am. And that's where I think most people are in their life. No matter where you are on the spectrum, you are in one place and always looking to go to another place. And there's nothing wrong with that except for the one caveat. And the caveat to that is in the people that suffer from mental health issues and they have, when I say body image, I'm not talking about gym physical image. I'm talking about the image of themselves that they're projecting out into the world. If you aren't able to step back and be reflective and appreciative of the things that you do have, it's time to do a little mental exercise because here's the problem. If you are never, ever able to appreciate the things that you do have currently, and that means whether you live in a residential neighborhood in a nice home like I do, or you live in a condo or an apartment and you aspire to own a home one day, or you live in a dorm room because you're in college and you're going through school right now. If you are unable to train yourself to look around and be happy in your current situation, you will never, ever, ever be able to achieve happiness because you will have trained your mind to never be satisfied with the things that you need versus the things that you want. So, example, if you're a college student and you're getting some whiz bang awesome degree, whether it's an MBA or an engineering degree or some kind of IT degree, some degree where you think you're going to make a lot of money, you're pre med, you're pre law, and you're not happy with what you have right now, you are constantly going to look in the mirror and be not satisfied with the things that you have. I can guarantee this 100%. You will become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, whatever it is, and you can buy until your heart is content, but you will never be satisfied because you have not trained yourself to be satisfied with the current things that you have. So I'll close the video out with this. This channel, which is me sporadically making YouTube videos, is really deep diving into mental health, fitness, well-being, and being the best version of yourself. So in order to be the best version of yourself, you have to be the best version of yourself right now, today. You have to be happy with who you are, what you have, and especially what you don't have, and realize what you don't have is room for growth. And all the materialistic things that you can acquire don't mean anything if you don't have a strong, reflective image of yourself, strong relationships with your friends, strong relationships with whatever family you have, and a strong relationship for your goals and aspirations that are outside of material things. Meaning, if you are extremely passionate about a nonprofit, what are you doing for that nonprofit? If you're extremely passionate about politics in your local area, what are you doing to get your community on the trajectory that you hope for? If you are faith-based, How are you living your life in accordance with your faith? These are the things that actually matter. And once those things are in place, and once you're happy with who you are in the now and have trained your mind to be satisfied, then all the other stuff will start coming without you even trying. I guarantee it. So thanks for listening to episode 6. I'll see you on the next episode.